Hey friends, welcome to Yoga for Dentists. I'm Dr. Josie Dovidio, longtime dentist, registered yoga teacher, and certified wellness consultant. Today, I'm chatting with Dr. Heather Zak-Ramsay, who is a graduate of the Crown of Wellness program, which is a signature program I created specifically for lady dentists to help them go from burnout to breakthrough. Today, we'll be talking about Dr. Zak-Ramsay's experience in the program so that you can get an idea of how the program might help you. So consider today the case study of Dr. Heather Zak-Ramsay. Doc, welcome to the show. Thank you for being with me today. I know you just got off of work and you're settling into your evening, so I appreciate you taking some time to share with the audience your experience.
Thank you. I'm excited to share my experience.
Before we dive in, let's tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your practice. So where are you located? What kind of practice do you have? What's your family life like?
I practice by myself. I'm a solo dentist by myself, general dentist in Southeastern Virginia. Now I have 3 full-time hygienists, 1 dental assistant, and 2 front desk people that work up there. I bought a practice in 2005. Yes, since 2005 is when I practiced. Graduated from dental school in 2002, did a residency and then about a 1.5 year associateship. And at home, I have a spouse, 3 boys, 17, 15, and 13, and a dog who might decide to love on me in a bit. That's my story of who I am.
So I mentioned in the intro that you're a graduate of the program. You've actually been in since 2021. I was thinking about this earlier today because time flies.
Yeah. I know.
So if you can think back to that moment in time, what was going on in your life then? And what attracted you to the Crown of Wellness program?
I just remember being feeling very overwhelmed with every part of my life. In 2021, probably the fall, I had finally found someone remotely to help me with some of my insurance stuff, but almost a year prior to that, because I couldn't find someone, COVID, this, that, and the other, I couldn't find somebody to do my insurance stuff. So I was showing up my office probably around 6:30 in the morning and staying till almost 7 o'clock at night, opening all the checks, posting all the things. I knew I wasn't really necessarily doing it as efficiently as possible, but I had to teach myself how to do it. So I was just getting the money in the bank and posting the checks and trying to do any kind of follow-up I could figure out how to do. But now I know there's a lot of better ways that I was doing it. But at the time, that's what I had. I had finally found somebody remotely to help me. So I was able to scan the checks in and scan the EOBs in. And that had been going on for a few months at that point. But I was at a point where I felt like I was just kind of just pulling my hair out with, there's just never going to be enough time in my life to do anything I wanted to do. There's not going to be enough time to be a mom. There's not enough time to be the dentist I want to be, to learn the dental things I want to learn, to try to be the boss I want to be. I didn't really know how to be a boss, I don't think. Now looking back, I was just kind of emotionally driven. Pretty much I felt like everything was emotionally driven. I wasn't even sure what I wanted. I just knew I wasn't happy what I was doing. And I felt very overwhelmed and drowning. Like I kept getting buried and buried. Even after I'd found somebody, I still felt like I was getting buried. So that's kind of where I was in the state of mind. I think I felt like I didn't know. And I had met you through the NAMI dentist group and the spinoff. I guess we kind of had a little ladies Bibles book study club through that, and kind of heard about you working on this program. And the one thing I remember a lot from that is that we'd get on the Zoom meetings earlier and kind of chit chatting. And so a lot of times I'd be at my office working on a Sunday afternoon because I was trying to play catch up because of all the things that my employees should have been doing that said that they were going to do it, but then they didn't. So I had to play catch up and do all the things because we had to start the week off. And you always gave me really amazing advice all the time. And I was like, that's such good advice. Why don't I do that? And then I was just kind of like, I don't even know how to do that. Like just talking to my employees, to be honest, like I felt like I didn't even know how to ask them to get the job done that needed to be done. So anyhow, so then when you started this program, I was like, well, she always tells me the right thing to say. I just don't know how to say those things. I felt almost at a point where I felt almost like rock bottom. It can't get any worse. And I just don't like doing this anymore. But so I really have nothing to lose, So so I signed on up and very thankful I did.
What were you expecting the program to be like? because sometimes it's hard to explain to people what the program is like. So can you talk to me about, did you have a certain expectation and then did it end up being what you thought it would be, or did it end up being something else?
Thinking back, I honestly don't know if I knew. I always say I don't know what I don't know. I kind of didn't even know what a wellness program was. I didn't know. I didn't even know what I had no idea really. I just felt like very blank slate. I felt like you got me as a blank slate. Okay, just tell me to do the things and I'll do whatever. And I really kind of felt like we started that way. I felt like I started just, okay, I'll just start reading with the first sentence here or whatever on the website and talking to you about it and just kind of go through the steps step by step. It was interesting. I felt like in the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, how do I even start answering that question? I don't remember what the question was, but whatever it might have been. What's some things you're struggling in? Oh my gosh, how do you write that down? It's like everything. How do you not know that? So really taking apart step by step each pain point, and really I just remember just typing, just kind of throwing everything I could think of down. It's kind of just like blah everywhere. And then you helped me kind of dissect it, I think, and kind of finding here, there, and a little bit of this here. And I kind of really found out what the true problems I was having with certain things and what was holding me back and why and all those things. I don't think I even knew what I was going to get into. And each week or each time a new part of the program would open up as we would get through one step to the next, I'm like, oh, so that's what we're doing now. Okay, let's do this. Like, and as I got into it, I felt like it kept getting easier and maybe more exciting to see what I was going to uncover next, kind of. I don't know how to describe that, but get to next,
So what would you say are your biggest takeaways from the program? I know, the program is like 6 months long and we cover a lot of things, but is there something like that, if you could sum it up, is there one takeaway that stands out to you?
There's probably not just one, but definitely there's a few things that I always think of, especially when I feel like, for many years of my life, I've been doing things a certain way and just before I even did this program. So it's hard to break bad habits kind of thing. One thing I always tell myself, words matter. How you say words to yourself matter. How you talk to yourself matters. That is a big thing. Always finding the good in things that might not have gone so well, kind of things. I've always thinking about that. A saying that I used to always hear, and it almost annoyed me, but it's really the truth. and the saying for some reason still kind of gets under my skin, but and I think of it in a different way, but it's just the saying that it will pass, this moment will pass. That annoys me just because it just feels very, I don't know if it's a shallowness to it. I don't know. There's something about it with that saying that bothers me. Those words bother me, but knowing that things are constantly changing and moving, and sometimes things are really good, sometimes they're not, but they're not going to always stay awful forever. They're not always going to be great forever. The constant changing, I think that, which is the same thing as this will pass, but for some reason it just hits me differently. So that's a big thing. I feel like the overall theme of what has helped me the most in the program coming away from it is from the beginning through now, when things always come up. It's just because I went through this program doesn't mean bad things are not going to happen to me, to my office, to my patients, to anything. Sometimes dentistry is hard. Sometimes you just got to, get through it. But I feel like before I would have a harder time grasping the idea that I'm doing something wrong or how to approach it. Now I feel like I can handle situations, especially with my office, with my employees. I always really struggled with that. Really, really struggled. I felt like a lot of times I would lead by emotions instead of just leading by what's best for the office and how to handle those kinds of things. I feel like I'm in more control in that way. I'd say there's no way I control everything, but I feel like I'm very much in control, that I figured out the confidence behind that. Like I feel very secure with being the boss now and what I need to do to move forward with bad situations with employees, or bad or good, how to celebrate people, how not to. I feel like I don't feel like there's that block. I used to feel like there was always something blocking me from jumping over that next hurdle of mine. But now I feel very comfortable doing what needs to be done.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Okay. All right. So let's speak to one of our colleagues who's out there struggling right now. What piece of advice would you give them knowing what you know now?
That's a good question. You have to first figure out what you really want. And I think through the program, you help me get to figure out what I really want in my life, in my office, as a spouse, as a parent, all the things. I don't think I could find an answer to how to fix the problem until I knew what I wanted. And I think you have to figure out what you want. And I think by going through the program, I think it's helped me kind of feel like peeling an orange, you're peeling all the pieces out to get to, or whatever, peeling a piece, I don't know, something, feeling something. You got to get to the meat of it. What is it that you really want out of everything? And so I feel like that's, before you can try to keep moving forward and say, how do I fix this one small situation? You kind of have to get to the heart of the matter before you can kind of fix this situation here in my office, or this little thing here, or this little thing. I feel like you have to have a big picture, but going after a big picture can be incredibly overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to go a little bit at a time. And I think you have to start with, what do you want? Because if you don't know what you want, you don't know where you're going. You don't know where to find the answer.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, having been through the Crown of Wellness program and staying engaged with it for almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
We're old friends.
I know.
Who would the Crown of Wellness program help? Like, what kind of dentist would it help? Right? What kind of issues are they dealing with?
I would say, I can't imagine it not helping just about anybody, really. Even if you're not a dentist, I think there's, obviously it's just for dentists, but so many things about the program could be even almost generalized. However, just in dentistry for sure. I say, gosh, I just wish I had this program back in 2005. That would have been really nice, back in, and then also I think too, back in 2005, if this program was given to me, I probably wouldn't even think twice on it, because I'm like, why would I need that? I know what I'm doing. I don't need that. I don't know if I'd appreciate, I think just because I've been through, I don't know, I feel like you need to kind of go through, why do you need this? So I felt very overwhelmed. I felt like I was drowning. I felt like I was being crushed with all the things, and just angry, almost to a point where I was angry at my office. I felt very resentful to the actual dental office that I created, or that I bought, but then now since then created. My employees would go take vacations, and it would really annoy me, not because they weren't there, but just because they get to go on vacation and be on vacation, where I'd go on vacation and then I'd worry about the office or somebody be,
right.
Other things. I felt like they leave at the end of the day, and look at them, they get to leave, and I'm here for another 2 hours doing my insurance checks or clean, all the things that I just felt like every situation just kept compounding on me. So any dentists like that are feeling like too much, what I've learned is there's a lot of reasons we feel that way. So, and mostly dentists, we have that personality that tends to take on a lot of things and tend to make things a little more difficult than they necessarily need to be, even
right.
though.
Yeah.
So any stage dentist really, because whether or not I would have listened to what I needed back then, but I feel like my dental career could have been so much different had I just known even 5 years ago,
Right. Right.
But things have flipped around completely for me in the past year and a half.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
it's been amazing. Yeah. It's been a great thing. So.
Yeah. That's the thing. I wish I would have had this program when I was practicing full time. That's kind of how I ended up creating it, right? This is what I would have needed. This is what would have helped me. And so while it is obviously helpful to any dentist who is stressed or burnt out, it can even be great for the dentist who hasn't gotten to that point yet, just to have these skills and these mindsets in place to help prevent them becoming burnout.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
well, Dr. Zak-Ramsay, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your story. Hopefully it'll help some lady dentists who are in the same boat that you were, or are concerned they might end up there. If they have any questions or comments, we hope that they'll leave them in the comments below this video. Otherwise, you can certainly reach out to me. I'll put my email in the comments section. And if you want to chat directly with Dr. Zak-Ramsay, just let me know and I'll put you in touch with her. Thank you so much. Stay healthy and safe. Be well, friends.